continuing on now with Connor Pay, BYU team captain. Now, Connor, bye weeks are important weeks. As you mentioned, you're going to obviously be working on healing up. You won't be on the practice field actually going through drills. But Kalani Sitake, when he was talking to us in the media, he said that Connor is still a leader for us. He's a team captain, and now he has to lead us essentially in a different way. So I want to start there. How are you going to approach this as you balance both, obviously, surgery, rehab, but also continuing to be a team leader for the BYU football program?
I mean, I don't know. I don't really plan on doing anything different, other than, instead of me screaming and yelling and firing people up out there in pads, I'm going to be rolling around on my scooter, and doing the same things. But, I think just in my small opportunities, I get to talk to the team and stuff like that as a whole. Those situations aren't really going to change. I think it's more the on the field, in real time leadership stuff that's going to be a little different. And I think that's mainly going to be now. It's my job to make sure, my replacement is ready to roll. And I think that's going to be probably my biggest focus over the next couple weeks, is making sure I'm spending lots of time in the film room with those guys and on the field, and just making sure that they're on their P's and Q's. Because I have confidence in really there's 2 or 3 guys who, have shown that they can play. It's like, because obviously Sonny is that first guy, and and so I want to make sure that he's ready to play. And then, if he's not, then Bruce or Jake Eichorn, making sure that those guys are ready to play. And so, Coach Woods and I have already had a couple conversations where, he's kind of given me the responsibility to make sure that those guys are dialed in and ready to play, just because it's a little different mindset when you've spent most of the year as a backup, and then especially preparing for games as a center is different than how you prepare for games at the other positions. There's kind of a lot more on the mental side that you have to be prepared for. And so I think that's where most of my leadership is going to lie. And then obviously just being a voice of encouragement and stuff on the sidelines. Again, I'm going to be hauling up and down those sidelines on my scooter, trying to scream and fire people up, and, at the games and at practice. And so, I think, and I told Coach Woods, I'm like, look, dude, I'm going to be so freaking bored. You better put me to work. Like, I'm going to get all my rehab stuff done in the morning, and then it's like, what do I do the rest of the freaking day? And so it's like, you have a third GA for the next few weeks here. It's like, I'm at your disposal. And so we'll see what fun, interesting, miserable things Coach Woods makes me do. But I think that's kind of how it'll look.
All right. Well, I'm expecting Connor, you to land speed records on this scooter. I'm going to be keeping an eye out for you on those sidelines. But you talk about Sonny being essentially the chief backup. I was going to ask you about that. So it sounds like he was your main backup. So him sliding over was a planned thing there. But it's going to require a reworking of the interior of this offensive line. And obviously, the nice part is, if it's going to happen, it's a good time to happen now. You mentioned the fact that you have the 2 weeks off now to kind of get guys ingrained, whether it's Sonny at center, Bruce at right guard. I'm assuming Waylon reprises his role as your stalwart at left guard there. It's going to require work to get them up to speed. And I don't mean to kind of bloviate on this, but it felt like Sonny was put into a tough position. Because as you mentioned, when you prepare as a center, you prepare a different way than you do as a guard, which he was preparing for all week. And all of a sudden, you go down second series of the game. He's like, oh, wait, I got to slide over here. And I felt like in some ways he was put in a no-win situation in that circumstance. But the good news is, and I want your thought on this, he now has 2 weeks to get himself ready if he is going to be your replacement for the interim.
Yeah, for sure. And it is always hard when you haven't been repping it a lot in practice to switch, especially to a position like center, because it's very different from the other 4 positions on the offensive line. And so, honestly, all in all, I feel like Sonny did a great job for the circumstances he was put in. And especially with what Baylor started to throw at him in the second half, I think they were realizing that when they were just lining up straight, we were kind of knocking them off the ball a little bit. And so they started moving and blitzing and doing a lot of things in the second half. And that's difficult stuff for a backup center to have to handle. And I thought, all in all, he did a phenomenal job being kind of put up against the wall like that, so to speak. And but yeah, no, I think Sonny's really smart, and a really good football player. That's why he was starting at right guard. before he had that week where it was a little banged up. And so I think with 2 full weeks of prep, he'll do just fine. And that's how I feel about all those guys, where it's like I think with adequate time and preparation, I've total confidence in all those guys. Like, people didn't even notice that our third string right guard started against Kansas State,
Yeah.
which is huge. Going unnoticed is the best thing you can do as an offensive lineman. And
Yeah. And
so like I have confidence in our depth, and I think especially with time and preparation, knowing what position they're going to play, I think they're going to be more than capable to do really well.
Now, overall, bye weeks are important for teams. Essentially, you get to recuperate a bit. You guys get to catch up on schoolwork and the like. But what is, if you had a to-do list, what you wanted to accomplish in this bye week as a football program, what would be on your list?
I would say, get healthy is number one. I think that's your number one goal of a bye week, is just the guys that have those minor bumps and bruises, get those guys back. But also, when we talked a lot today in our players meeting, the captains talked a lot to the team about how this is a work week, just like any other week, how there's individual things that every person in that room needs to improve on. And you have to attack this week and improve on those things. Like the best teams in the country, and I feel like it's something we've been able to do so far this year, is to reset and attack and improve each week. And you have to do that every week of the season, regardless of whether you're playing a game or not. And so I think the message today was the same as it was everywhere. Like, look, we don't have a game, but it doesn't matter. We're resetting. It's Monday. It's a new week. We have to attack this week and improve and earn the right to play well against Arizona. And that starts this week. And so I think I just want to see that shift and just the reset that we've been having week in and week out. I think that's one of the strengths of this team. It's just mentally we're able to go from next week to the next week to the next week and not carry over the good or the bad, and understand that every week is a new week. And with how much parity there is in college football, you never know what's going to happen any given Saturday. So you got to prepare for that team's absolute best, because they could very well come out and play it and you'd be in a dogfight. And so I just want to see that reset again, and that passion and that attack at practice tomorrow. And just based on today, I think they're going to do that.
Last thing for me on the bye week, obviously, is without a game, it can be easy for you guys to say, okay, let's take it a little bit easy. You said the coaches have said, hey, it's a new week. We got to attack this with essentially the same passion and vigor we've attacked every other week. What are, obviously, like we've talked about, you're not going to be out there actually leading from the front, so to say. You're not going to be out there actually participating. But what can you do to make sure the energy level stays up and these guys attack it like they should be if it were any other game week?
I think I could just do my best to bring the juice,
Okay.
right, and just be excited and fired up. During the individual periods, even though I'll be off to the side watching, encouraging, getting fired up when guys do things well. And just encouraging guys to improve. And, I think that's something we do as a group pretty well. And so, I think that's just what I'm going to have to be. I'm going to have to be an energizer bunny, where sometimes, and more so than normal, sometimes when I'm in practice, I kind of get dialed into my zone a little bit with what I'm trying to improve upon or what's going on. And I won't talk that much. And I'll do certain things like just because I'm kind of just dialed in and focused on what I'm doing. And then I sometimes have to be like, oh crap, like, yeah, I need to be vocal. I need to be, to be encouraging the guys. And so now this week I can just be all energy, all encouragement, to make sure that they attack the week, because a bye week is, you do let off a little bit. Like the practices will be shorter, but the intensity can't change. It's like they're going to shorten the duration to help take care of our bodies, but it has to be still that intense, all week long. And it's like the coaches will take care of the periods and the sports scientists and all that stuff and making sure we're healthy. That's not our responsibility as players. Our responsibility is to go out there and go balls to the wall every single day so that we can improve and get better. And, like I said, you have to earn the right every individual week to play well. And, we get 2 weeks to earn that right against Arizona.